Hey, what's up everybody? It's Brandon again, and today what I want to talk about is whey protein, specifically isolates and concentrate. And the reason I want to do this is because if we're going to spend our own hard-earned money on supplements, which of course I have to interject and say that they're beneficial and not necessary, because I'm sure one of you would probably do that for me if I didn't mention that. But however, when we're going to buy something like whey protein, which we believe can be beneficial to help us reach our goals, we want to make sure that we're making the most informed decision possible, because obviously a lot of these things cost a lot of money. There's a lot of different kinds out there as far as protein goes, and we want to ensure that we're getting the best bang for our buck, so to say. So I want to take a minute just to talk about the differences between the two. In order to do that, let's talk about whey protein in its raw form as is. It's very high in lactose as well as fat, and obviously is derived from dairy. Now what happens is it goes through a process to remove some of this fat and lactose, and what you get is whey protein concentrate, which is probably one of the most popular and prevalent forms of whey protein out there. You'll find it in everything from meal replacement bars to meal replacement shakes to any real weight loss aid that has a protein source in it. You're typically looking at whey protein concentrate for this. However, oftentimes we are led to believe that this is a lesser form of protein because we hear the term concentrate, and we know there's something out there called isolate, which is a lot better for us. Now, is that really true or not? And that's what I want to talk about today. So isolate, as the name implies, is just isolated whey protein. So after you get that whey protein concentrate, if you were to further filter out that lactose and fat, you would be left with pretty much just pure protein, and that's what whey protein isolate is. Now, all proteins are judged on something known as a BV scale, or biological value, and what this scale does is it takes a number and assigns it to different forms of protein to let you know how good it is, with the better proteins having higher rankings. Now, in the past, a whole egg was the highest rated protein out there until we really started seeing this whey protein concentrate and isolate come out, and it really blew those things out of the water. So in terms of quality of protein, regardless if you're talking about whey protein concentrate or isolate, you're still going to have a higher BV value than most other common sources of protein, like eggs and fish and chicken and all sorts of things that you can imagine. So it's really interesting when we get into a debate when we're talking about what's better, concentrate versus isolate, because either way, you're really in a win-win situation. Both are great. Now, true, isolate does have a higher BV value than concentrate, but does that really matter for you in your gains in the long run? And the answer is no. So if we were to take a look at two individuals who have the same caloric intake, the same macronutrient intake, but one person gets 50 grams of protein from concentrate, whereas the other person gets 50 grams of isolate, you're not going to see any differences in body composition. However, in order to sell this isolate, a lot of times, supplement companies have to come out with fancy marketing schemes to kind of put concentrate down. Obviously, you have two things that are very comparable in terms of results, yet one is a lot more expensive than the other because of the extra filtration it has to go through. You can bet your damn ass that they're going to really push themselves and their marketing behind their products to make it separated from the concentrate and make it appear all that much better. Again, getting back to what I've already said, the BV value is higher, but the actual results you'll see won't really differ. The biggest difference between these two is the fact that isolate has less calories, less fat, and no lactose. So, if you're the type of person that has lactose problems or intolerant to dairy, you might find that isolate is beneficial to you as it won't cause as many problems in your digestive system. Or if you're really anal about your macros and what you're taking in, and you can't really afford to take in those extra 30 or 40 calories, a couple grams of fat, and probably a couple extra grams of carbs, then isolate would also be the way for you to go. But again, you're really splitting hairs here because each one is a great source of protein and can really be beneficial to you in your diet if you have trouble adding in protein from whole food sources. So that's how I look at whey protein. I look at it as a food source. It helps me get to my macronutrient desired level of protein if need be. But of course, it's not necessary, it's only beneficial. So let me know which one you prefer, if any, and if you have a certain brand that you like, let me know also. Just be interesting to get a conversation going. But in the meantime, stay big.